Hi friends, it's Nancy. Happy Saturday. I'm here to do a flip through of this Lacy blue journal. We are just about 8 inches, I believe. 7 7/8 by 5.5. Has a 1 3/8 inch spine. There's 4 signatures. It's a hollowback spine, and this is a vintage book from the 1950s, and I've just decorated it with some lace and this little image of some birds. So let's get started. You saw in a previous video that I went with this fabric. Now let's just pay attention to you right now. So what this is actually a vintage toy fan. This fan is children's nice gift. I have no idea what the price of it would have been. I can't even remember where I got this, but there was a little pink plastic thing that was holding it together, and it fell apart. I mean, it's probably old. So I rehinged the fan back together with this bulb pin and added this little tassel here. And I'm glad that I finally used it. It can be removed, of course. Inside I have a couple of, this is an antique card from 1912. It says happy birthday. And this is a book page tag from the Henry Terry book about Victorian flowers. I did this in a video last week, I think. And the fabric that's in the background here, this is Kathy Holden. First page is scrapbook paper. I'm just checking to make sure I'm sort of showing. And on this side, this is a piece of a doily that I decorated that page with. Here I've used snippets of lace and textiles, and this tiny little silver frame. I glued an applique in there, a vintage applique. This is a page from a 1909 legal document, and I just added some birds and tree limbs with some texture paste, and it forms a pocket. This is 1878 invoice. I'll just pop that back in there. And this is a glassine envelope, and inside this is an old trade card. And on the back it talks about the product. The soap is composed mainly of extra refined quality of oil produced from cottonseed. Well, there you go. So I think this was supposed to be some sort of little ledger. Some little darling wrote in hi. I don't know. But I liked all the blue. Thought it was a good match with that page. This is a tag that I made from get my numbers mixed up. 1940 wallpaper. I've backed it with some vintage book page and used a little bit of vintage lace at the top. Hand stitched this little paper doily there that I cut with a die. This is a genuine card from Will's Cigarettes. of British birds. Just tuck that in here. I have this is just a little ribbon that I've pinned on with a silver safety pin. Inside, this is another tag that I made using Henry Terry's book. This is a vintage doily that I sewed there to make a pocket. This tag, even the string is from an antique greeting card, but this page itself is from, I think it's from an old Bible. So it talks about, you know, a couple getting married in 1871. I fussy cut this little bluebird there. And this came from an antique photo album. Some watercolor paper on the back. A little key charm there. Some book page. This was from an old book called Quiet Hours with Nature. And it has this really nice image of birds. Tea-dyed copy paper. In here, this is that deed from 1909, and it has a little more texture paste on there. This is the original Brad from that document. This is another cigarette card, but it is die cut so that it could stand up. This is a postcard. It says Dollard Studio, Montreal. Probably 1920s. With her bobbed hair and her short skirt. I sewed on some vintage eyelet lace there. Here, again, I've used some Lacy snippets and embroidery, and I pinned on this little heart with a silver safety pin. This came from an old newspaper, and I just stuck it on there, the edge, so that it could flip open and you could do some journaling behind there. I like that it mentions red rose tea, and it has these pretty floral images. And on the back is a piece of old ledger. It flips up. I should mention that this paper is from an old book. Well, yeah, pre-1900. I just added this little collage of a little safety pin and a stamp from Hungary, some tulle, and a little applique. I didn't point it out on the other page, but on this page, I wanted to point out that I did some hand stitches with embroidery floss. This is another 1940s wallpaper tag. And on this side is another, this is for Reckitt's Paris Blue. So it's an authentic trade card. This is from an old book, Thumbelina. Old piece of a doily, and another tag made from Henry Terry's book. There's The Ugly Duckling. Some tea-stained paper. Actually, that might not be tea-stained. This might be spinach stained. So here's an old piece of book page, and I've attached this invoice receipt. There's a little piece of lace peeking out there. This flips open. This is from 1881. So there's place for journaling here. I made this little tuck spot. So there's a little piece of tea-dyed paper there that can tuck in. There is an old visitor's card and an old piece of ledger. And this is a vintage piece of lace. Lots of stuff going on there. Another snippety bits, and here I've just tied on this key. It's probably for a little padlock using a silver bulb pin. Some embroidery there. Another, this is from the weekly, the Family Herald newspaper. I just used this piece of an envelope to make sort of a tab. You open it up and you can see there's this pretty lacy illustration of a needlework design. Lifts up, and this is from 1926, and this receipt is from 1928. Another little tuck spot with 1940 wallpaper. And another little visitor's card with a blue bird. I have this blue silk satin ribbon in here. It can be put anywhere to hold your spot. But that's where it happens to be right now. It's glued into the back of the spine. The German book. And here I made a tuck spot using this pretty piece of lace. And it's a postcard with some more blue birds. This, I'll take the pin off. That's the other side of that invoice. This is a book page. It has an indigo bunting there, and a little piece of tea-dyed paper flips up. That flips back. This is a book page from a bird book that I tea-dyed, and it flips open. It shows this illustration of a bird. And I have this little paper clip, and it's holding there's a bird. More snippety bits. Here I've got a little charm of a silver bird with a safety pin. This is from an old piece of music called Bluebird Time, a fussy cut from a book, some vintage paper. I just added a little eyelet here so I can make a tuck spot. Another visitor's card. This came from an old notebook, and that pin is original to the notebook. So the person pinned in this little verse. 1940s wallpaper. On the back, this is trademark, and the illustration has some birds and reeds, blue ribbons, and it looks like the corner's been turned down. I have no idea what it was a trademark for, or where it was cut out of, or if it was cut out. I've had it, and it's got bluebirds, so there it is. Another Henry Terry tag. And a smaller Henry Terry tag. So this page came from a pilot's log. I like it because it talks about flying time, and there's a lot of birds in here. This flips up. There's the other side of that music page. I turned this side up so that I could put that tag there. It flips like that. This is an old hunk of ledger. It's an illustration from the original book. And there's a tiny little bling charm there on a safety pin. This is antique, this little applique. This is vintage wallpaper. Not as old as some of the others. This comes from William Colson and Brothers, dealers in perfumery and toilet articles in Buffalo. Has a little bluebird up there. So there's it's dated Christmas 1883. And inside it talks about holiday goods, drugs and medicines, that sort of thing, and surgical instruments. Well, there you go. I thought about stitching some pages in there to make a little booklet, but ultimately I didn't. And on the back, there's just this little tuck spot here at the bottom. And I have a little tag. This is an image from a book, and this is a genuine visitor's card. And it just gets tucked right down there in that little lace collage. And here I've got a couple pieces. There's some tatting there, some crocheted lace, and a little applique and some blue silk ribbon. And inside I have another postcard. It says 1936 on there. To Gloria from St. Matthew's Sunday School. And another Henry Terry book tag. So that is the Lacy Blue journal. If this is something that you're interested in adding to your collection, I hope you'll go over to my Etsy shop and have a look. All right, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this process and the flip through. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.